This week we're going to change it up a little bit. We're working on a 2016 Dodge Dart. Gonna rebuild the carburetor. Just kidding. We're gonna do some brakes, brake pads, brake rotors, oil change. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're working on a 2016 Dodge Dart. Give you the walk around a little bit. We're going to do the brake pads and rotors. I'll start in the back. When I do the front, I'll go ahead and do the oil change. It's a pretty nice car, pretty low miles. This will probably be the first brakes that have been done on it. It was a pretty boring car when she got it. She went ahead and got the windows tinted, and we put a aftermarket exhaust on it. Try to put a few rips from that in the video later. The first I'm going to start on these rear brakes and work our way to the front. Well, I actually forgot that I didn't get stuff for the back brakes, so we're just going to inspect them real quick and then we'll move up front. Whoops. Everything looks pretty good. Don't see any hot spots on the rotor. Pads are a little worn. Okay, checked. Alright, I got the front wheel off. Next we're going to take off the caliper. It's got two 14mm bolts here and one at the bottom. Once we get that off, there's a bracket right here that has two 16mm bolts. And we can take that off. And then there's a 5mm Allen wrench right here, and then the rotor could come off. So I'm going to take this all apart real quick. Alright, I got everything torn apart. The brake pads look pretty good. About half worn. There's a new one to compare. The rotor looked pretty good. It didn't really need everything changed. But she wanted to change it, so that's what we're doing. I got the Duralast Gold brake pads. It came with all of the hardware you need, clips. It was a real pain getting these 16mm bolts out. I see that they had Loctite on them. That's a good reason why. The rest of the bolts came out real easy. Normally you would want to grease up these slides, whatever you want to call it, but I checked them, they're clean and greased up good, so we're just gonna let it roll. I'll go ahead and pull off these old clips and start putting everything back together. Also went with the Duralast Gold rotors too, because they're coated and then they won't get rust on them. Not a big deal, but it's kind of nice, makes it look nicer. Less chance of getting rusty brake dust kind of stuff on your wheels. Alright, let's put it back together. Okay, I got all my clips on. These clips are a little bit different than the original ones. You can see that. I'm sure it'll be fine. Got the little clips that go on the brake pads. Put some anti-seize on here. You people in the Rust Belt know what that's all about. When you can't get a rotor or brake drum off, shouldn't be a problem here, but couldn't hurt to put it on there. Help somebody out in the future. I go ahead and put the new rotor on. Put all the pieces back together. I'll probably anti-seize a few of those bolts. I'll go ahead and put a little Loctite on these 16mm bolts. Also wanted to mention that when you're doing brakes, don't let your caliper hang from the brake hose. It'll cause a leak or might ruin the hose. Use some kind of hook to hang it up. Go ahead and put this back together, then we can start on the other side. Just in case you wanted to know what the torque specs were on this stuff, there you go. Go ahead and hit pause and write it down if you need to. Alright, I got this side all back together. Since I had the wheel off, I went ahead and took a flashlight, looked up in these holes, just kind of check everything out. It's probably the only chance I'll see it. Everything looks good. So we'll slap the wheel back on there, jump on the other side. Alright, I got the passenger side all pulled apart. Same as the other side, the pads are about half worn, the rotor looks good. We'll go ahead and just change it all. Do the same thing that we did on the other side. So I'm going to clean it up, put it back together. New parts. Okay, I got the passenger side back together. But before I put the wheel on here, I'm going to change the oil because it gives me a little more access to everything underneath there. And it's already jacked up, so we'll get that done next. So this is what I went with for oil, just because it was on sale. And then I went with the Wix XP oil filter. The XP stands for extra power. That's another 10 horsepower you get just from this oil filter. If you believe that, just go ahead and slap yourself for me. And here's the part number for that. You fill your oil filters first before you put it on. Some people say it doesn't matter. I say it can't hurt. One of the things I like to do after oil change is I rip the top off of the oil filter box. And you have your number for your oil filter. And on the back side I write the date, the mileage, what oil I used. Throw it in the glove box. And then you know exactly what you used the last time. Told you I'd let you hear this exhaust. Check it out. And those sounds were brought to you by Summit Racing Exhaust Kit. Not sponsored. Just thought I'd let you know in case you wanted one. Alright, well that's the end of this video. Bye.